Little Ramsey Lewis. Up, here we go.
They can hear us.
Coming to you live on the Government Access Channel from Mario Bagnoni Chambers in beautiful downtown Erie. It's the Taxpayers Hotline Show with your hosts, Kaz Kwiatkowski and John Steiner.
And you're back.
Guess who's back?
And DJ's voice?
DJ, it's like he reminisces throughout the city hall.
Came all the way, the echo came all the way from the big mountains.
Right, he screamed it and it just echoed. He yodels out there in Colorado. He's a yodeler. What's going on, Kaz?
We might have to do a road trip out there.
You know, we may not come back. They have a lot of fun out there in
We're
Colorado.
going to hit the old silver mine?
We're going to hit a little bit of everything out there. A little Coors Light, a little everything, right?
There you go. Little. So how you been?
Pretty good, pretty good. Been busy. I was out on the road doing some work last week, so I couldn't make it. And of course, I called Kaz at the last minute, and he's.
I thought I was going to be doing a show alone, and guess who showed up?
Yeah, did you tell me John showed up?
Yeah, John Villa.
John Villa is. Known John Villa a long time. I did a lot of volunteer work with the neighborhood resources and a lot of the.
I told him, come back and.
Absolutely,
We'll have
John.
him back on the show sometime.
John is very knowledgeable about neighborhood revitalization. He was involved with the Weed and Seed when I was there.
We have a few people that want to come on the show, just that timing is always critical.
Well, when we actually tape the show, a lot of people aren't watching, or, they don't call in. We have the same people that call in, but during the week, a lot of people do catch the replays. And actually more than, because we always joke around and say, nobody watches this show. Well, actually, a lot more people than we thought.
I get hit at the breakfast place for one, and other places around town, but.
Yeah, a lot of people, they're starting to recognize me a little, not as much. You're famous. I mean,
No, you're getting famous, John.
No, I'm not famous. I'm infamous, right?
You're like the Cisco kid in Poncho.
There you go. But, some people do watch this, but very few call in, so.
Well, here's
Talk about timing.
Let's take a guess.
Let's talk to him.
Go ahead, caller.
Belated happy birthday to you.
Oh, yeah, my mother did all the work, John. Remember that?
Did, huh?
Well, that's what I always tell everybody. birthdays are overrated.
I
So,
would say something different.
well, you ought to take your mother. When you have a birthday, you ought to take your mother out because she did all the work.
Oh, yes.
I want to start a new tradition. Rather than you get presents, you give your mother one.
And Kaz's
I'm going to
mother.
get pregnant.
His mother's beautiful. She's a great lady, too.
For having me, she's a saint.
Absolutely. To put up with you, she's going to heaven for sure.
You know the male sea fish gets pregnant, the female doesn't.
And where?
The fish, the seahorse.
Really?
Yep. But the reason I called, it's political time again.
It always is, John.
What isn't it?
Politics is like, what do they say? Never talk about religion and politics, right?
True, but
And
this
sports.
isn't politics. This is about the signs and the klutzes and the losers and the winners who leave their garbage all over the city, coming in, coming out on the highways, all the triangles. It's time to put a law with teeth in the books for these clowns. You know who they are.
You mean the political signs?
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I'll tell you what. I travel a lot, and it's amazing that there are actually places where this don't happen.
True.
But then there are other towns where, like I noticed in Allentown, it's heavy. Other towns, not so much. But yeah, Erie and Allentown and a couple others, it's like, and somewhere in Ohio, I think Cleveland, I saw it. But other places, you don't see it as much. They must have good teeth in their laws.
I went by recently and I saw a sign, Dewey for president.
Really? I wouldn't doubt that.
Well, John, I'm pretty sure there's an ordinance stating for sure that you're not allowed to have political signs in public spaces. Like
After so many days,
You're not allowed on the right of way.
and then like the boulevards up on 38th Street there.
And our guys do pick them up.
Yes, they did.
They don't pick them
No,
up.
no,
It pretends that you have an RD on your name.
No. I can tell you this,
No,
John.
you're wrong, John, on that one.
John, I can
I've
tell
seen
you,
them.
there's a whole pile down in the basement.
Yeah.
And there are R's and D's both.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, you can go over West 38th Street from
Mm-hmm.
Beach all the way to Sassafras, and you'll see 6 signs out there now. They've been there a whole week.
Well, they're allowed to be. That's private
Are they on
property.
private property or are they on public?
They're
Oh, okay, I'll have to look at it.
I think
Yeah, our
that's
guys
fine.
do pick them up, though.
They do. If they're in the boulevards or in the right-of-ways, then they do pick them up. But
So-
you got to call them. I mean, they're not in a hurry.
And sometimes they're a little liberal about, like, if, definitely on the boulevard, but if they're on that little strip in front of your house,
Yeah.
they're a little bit more liberal about
Yeah.
not picking them up.
Well, in front of your houses, you put them on the closest side to your house and not across the sidewalk. That's where they're allowed to be.
Well, you can't have them on the right, that little strip. That's illegal.
Have them on well, they say it's the city's right away.
Yeah, but they, our guys are kind of loose on,
Picking them up.
well, on that part. But if you're definitely like on a triangle, like
if they're
the
in
middle of State Street, they're coming down.
If they're in the boulevards or anything that could be
Yeah.
definitely designated as.
Because people get mad. They go, look,
Yeah, nobody wants to
it's my damn front yard, and they get,
Yeah, well-
you're going to get into a contest with.
I still see a tree service sign in the boulevard on Sunset Boulevard.
I'll go up there and take that one down.
Well, Mill Creek has ordinances like that too. And
Hey, John, I'll tell you one that really bothered me the other day. Maybe you've seen it.
what's that?
I was going out to Sarah's,
Okay.
and sure enough, there was a sign right by the Tom Ridge Center.
Okay. What kind of sign?
Governor.
Big governor sign. I'm going, I would hope that that's not on state land,
Right.
but
I'm trying to. You know who? No.
that kind of stuff bothers me
You
when
know
you're
who
on
owns
like
that?
that.
You know who owns it? I guarantee if it's out right by there, it's
You think it's the Waldemar
for sure.
on that front strip? I
I
would have thought the state
almost-
bought that whole front strip.
would almost guarantee if there's a yard sign.
It just
on there,
doesn't look
it's-
right in front of a state.
No, it doesn't. But
Well, these politicians that have these signs built over the recommendation, they're just naive.
Well, they fought one guy out in Mill Creek, it was last year. In fact, it was a Trump sign, I think. And they went all the way to, he took Mill Creek to task because they said the sign was bigger than permitted. And it got into a court fight, and if I remember right, they kind of ruled against the township.
you know how what really irritates me
Property.
is when they have them on the highway when you go onto an on ramp
Yeah.
or an off ramp, and whenever I see somebody, I say to myself, well, that's who I'm not voting for. They can't even follow the basic rules. Basic rules.
That's where I saw them in Allentown, on all the intersections.
Yeah.
And you see them in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
You wait
Erie.
a little bit. Well, if they weren't doing construction on Zimmerly Road up there,
They'd be up there.
Yeah.
he slammed in there.
Yeah.
So, but I just thought I'd bring that up. And we got to teach these Cleveland receivers not to take the ball out and get to the 10-yard line and wind up losing.
Yeah, but they really got hosed last night from what I heard.
Well, they got hosed for their own stupidity. You don't take the ball out when you know you're going to get it on the 25-yard line. The Steelers did the same thing a few times.
Yeah, but that marking of the ball I heard was bad.
Oh, yes.
I thought it was a
It's
first
bad
down.
all over.
Yeah, I thought they got hosed too on that.
I mean, I didn't even see the game yet. I've watched half of it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they should? They should give these guys leather helmets and...
Well, no, they need to hire full-time referees. So the only league that doesn't have full-time referees.
I think they're in the process of doing it.
Process, yeah.
I think they.
The richest,
I think they might have done it.
the richest league in the United States,
Yeah.
they're just talking about it.
Yeah. The league has changed. It's not like it used to be, which, you got these
No, it's getting worse. I
concussions.
mean, the other day, I saw a guy yesterday in the Browns game. I had to admit it.
Yeah.
He hit Mayfield.
Yeah.
It looked like it was a love tap on Sandlot
And
ball.
he got a flag on it. Yeah.
Depends who the referees are.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
How they're meeting before the game and how they're going to enforce. You see hockey now, they're changing the chest protectors, they're changing the pads, and they're making the goalies a little smaller so
Hey.
they can get the puck into the net.
Speaking of baseball, did you go by the ballpark?
Which one?
Erie.
No, I don't go down
Man, it's
there.
all tore up now, I mean, I tell you.
I went to the Otters home opener, and I went outside and to check it out, and they were working at night.
Oh, yeah, they got to get it in, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, maybe 12 or 14 million, but it's going to be, they're working.
I think they
Too
were.
bad the city doesn't get any revenue from that.
Yeah, well,
Well, we do indirectly through,
Very indirectly,
Very indirectly.
little.
yeah.
I had a lot of people come up to me, talk to me about tax laws, and a lot of people, I'm surprised, don't understand how it works in the Commonwealth.
True.
You know, they think, like all these jobs that we create, we don't get any income out of them at all.
No.
Not even the income tax. That goes back where you live.
Right.
That's just like ask me how the Supreme Court ruled that you don't have to be in a union.
Yeah, there's some strange things going on, and it's going to get even stranger if the court shifts like we think it's going to be.
Well, I have no idea. But all I know, I got sick of watching that zoo. It's disgusting. These wannabes who want to run and get out there, and because the cameras are on them, they perform to the cameras.
You know, I noticed that people bring up, why do we have so much entertainment at city council and not at county council? And all you have to do is look at the cameras.
True.
They think they're on TV, they're movie stars.
Well,
Yep.
I'll get off. Have a great day.
Hey, call back later if nothing.
Yeah, if it's slow.
Yeah, it was a lot of things coming down the pike now. I mean, big. We're gonna have a busy council session.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little heated drama tomorrow, or is it Tuesday,
There's
Wednesday?
there's a lot of issues out there. We got the panhandling issue. We had a study session on that. We have the EMTA coming up, LERTA.
Yeah, I mean.
There's some big decisions coming down the pike.
Yeah, there is. I mean, just, and I saw today that, we'll get back to all that stuff. And today, that guy that was on 60 Minutes, that economic development specialist from Mississippi, I can't remember what his name is.
Was he here in Erie or something?
He's here, they're having a conference of some sort down at hopefully at the convention center.
Is he here now?
He's here, yeah, he's here today, I think, and he's one of the guest speakers, and somehow the candidate that's running for governor is down there speaking too. What he's got his nose in down there doing, I have no idea.
What, Republican was?
Yeah, the Republican guy.
The guy from Mississippi, was he a minority?
No, I think he's a white guy.
Because there was an interesting gentleman on TV, and they hired him down in Mississippi.
Yeah.
And he went into this is why I'm not against the way he did it.
Yeah,
I'm not against the community college from that aspect.
Yeah.
They went into a part of Mississippi that used to be called in Mississippi, they called it the Triangle.
triangle, yeah.
And he went in there and it had lost all their business. But what they did was they said, okay, here's where we are. We're at the bottom of the barrel.
Keep talking, I'm gonna Google his name.
And here's where we want to be. So how do we get a factory back in here? So what they did was they found out what the factory needed, much like they do in Carolina, and then they trained the workforce, through the community college to match it.
Right.
And sure enough, they got back on track, because if you've been to Mississippi, it's not, it has their challenges too down there.
Right.
But this guy was, I forget his name. If I see his picture, I'd know it, because he was on 60 Minutes one time.
Yeah, they did a big story on him, and wow, here it is. Joe Max Higgins.
That's probably him.
That is him.
Yeah,
Let's see what he looks like.
His ideas were like, okay, what do you need, and we'll provide it to you.
With a name like Joe Max, you could tell he's from Mississippi. Joe Max. Actually, that's pretty, I like that name.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what he did was
Here's him on 60 Minutes. right
utterly
now.
outstanding. He just,
He kind of looks like Andy Zimmerman a little bit.
I looked at him and I said, he was a no-nonsense guy, and he said, what do you need? Okay, you need employees like this? Okay, you'll have them.
Right, I mean, that's what he did.
Then they went out and targeted a couple companies,
Yeah.
that they were interested in.
Yeah, he brought, I saw, he's brought into that triangle $6 billion.
And with the tax breaks, that's why, they gave him a few tax breaks. They gave him a workforce, and the rest is history.
They have they have all kinds of stuff on him. Joe Max Higgins, with all the economic development that he did, he 6,000. He is credited for generating 6,000 manufacturing jobs
That's not
in the Golden Triangle. I mean, in that place down there, Erie's got a lot more going on in the Golden Triangle. I mean,
Well, and where he was in the South, that was like, it was a huge industry that when they lost it, it was very troubling.
yeah. Well, I mean,
It's like that one company in Carolina that assembles TV sets now with the tariff war.
there was a
They're gonna send people home because they can't get the parts from China.
Newsweek magazine names, top 10 cities of people fleeing.
Erie was one of them,
Erie's number 5, yeah.
of leaving.
Well, you know what number 1 is. I mean, I'd have fleed there too.
What's that?
Flint.
Yeah.
Flee Flint. It's kind of got like a ring to it. I mean, flee Erie does too.
I was talking to a young lady from Detroit, and she was telling me how they're doing great things.
Yeah,
But a lot of the great things are still out in the suburbs.
yeah.
And
Well, I've been to Detroit a couple times. I think Detroit does get kind of a bad rap because I don't think Detroit is all that bad of a
well,
city.
they did suffer because if you looked at what happened, all the things that were. I've had a friend that worked in Flint too, by the way.
Oh, really?
And he said when he worked in Flint, they were hiring teachers like mad. Well, he had the auto industry.
Yeah.
The auto industry is booming, and he said he knew then there was something wrong. When you looked out in the parking lot, and the workers had Toyotas and Subarus,
Yeah, right.
that was
That's the beginning of the end.
yeah. Go ahead, caller.
Go ahead, caller.
Hey, what's up, guys?
No, nothing. Go ahead.
What's up, Deej?
Yeah, it's me.
I know. We just heard your voice. We can't forget that voice. What's
I just called to say, hey, I need you guys to fill me in on everything that's going on because I'm actually watching from work and I'm not supposed to. But
We don't know who your boss is personally, so your secret's
You're on an
safe with us.
extended lunch break.
Yeah, right.
seriously, so I'm just checking in to, let me know what's going on, fill me in on all the stuff.
You want to know the good stuff
I'll
or
let
the
you guys
bad
give
stuff?
me the whole story.
Well, things are getting a little bit. My opinion, Kaz will give you his, but I think things are starting to turn into a different direction with a lot of positive things downtown.
I think so, but
Yeah, I think
we got to keep on top of it. That's all.
for sure. We got.
I like your new mayor because I'm on Facebook and I follow what you guys, put out on Facebook, and your new mayor, I really like what he's trying to do and I really hope for the best.
Well, he's definitely getting in touch with the people.
Yeah,
He's-
well, unfortunately, though, he doesn't talk to council, and that's a problem right now.
He talks to everybody but council, but I'm sure.
Yeah, we don't know what he's up to, and
Maybe someday talking to you will be on his things to do list. He doesn't need to talk to you. He's got his other people. He's got the public.
yeah, but we got to vote on these things. We got to know what's going on.
You guys aren't important. These other guys are more.
That's what it looks like, but
No, you're on his last things to do.
yeah, I just wish he was a little more transparent with his council, though. But he's not.
Well,
He'll come around. I
wasn't
think
the
you guys
last
will get it
mayor?
worked out.
The last mayor was the same, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he looks more transparent.
If he had to come down to talk to you guys about everything,
He looks more transparent than this one.
you guys would never get anything. You guys would fight all the time.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. When Flippy was mayor,
Like an in-between person who could go between and just keep you guys up to date.
well, we tried. We keep telling him that. I'll give you an example. Well, listen to me on the council meeting. You'll hear it.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I got a couple of choice comments that.
Uh-oh. Committee report.
No, I'm just constructive criticism.
Constructively.
I mean, look, we're all part of the process. The things we have to do in the future, both on the city and the county levels, are going to take cooperation from everybody.
Yeah, things are going to get real interesting around here real soon. So regarding some
Let's hope for
issues.
the better. Let's hope for the better.
Always remember this, mayors propose and county executives propose, but you know whose name goes on the list when you pass it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It's council, so, years later, they look, well, you remember that council that passed that. That's all they'll remember.
I mean, there has to be a reason why not a lot of communication takes, because the same thing is going on at the county.
Yeah, I mean, right now, we're at a point where, and I tell people, this is going to take I'm hoping I'm wrong, but it'll take 20 to 30 years to sort this out. And it's going to take a lot of hard work and steady work in that time, because look, how long ago were we 138,000 people? Are you still on the line, right, sir?
I'm here.
When was it, how long ago was it when we were a big city? That was like 20, 30 years ago. So we've been going down to it, so now we got to come back up.
But in their defense up there, if I was trying to do something and I had to come down here and talk to all 7 of you to get your different points of view and put up with all your stuff,
Never get done.
Yeah,
No.
but not everything. But when you talk about, here, I'll give you an example. LERTA.
Yeah.
It's going to take a vote. And you got people pro and con on how far we should go with it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a big issue.
Yeah,
When we had the meetings about the plan from Buki,
yeah,
okay, that needed to be discussed because there are things that both sides got to do.
right.
There are issues when you start getting into large-scale projects and directions that we're going.
Yeah.
Where you're going to need council to make exceptions to laws or to add new laws, you need dialogue.
Okay, here's what I'm gonna.
You know,
here's a solution.
Not micromanaging every little thing, okay?
Here's a solution. Here's what here's what I propose. They have, now, let's say if the mayor wants to bring in some economic development, LERTA stuff. He goes and deals with the public, the community, the businesses, blah, 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 that aspect of it. You guys, and then he puts it together, he brings it down to you guys, and then you guys decide, as on a compromise, this should be added, that we want that taken out, this should be taken out, and then you compromise.
No, I
and
disagree with you because
Kumbaya.
if you're going to do it like when Flippy did it, okay?
Yeah,
Even though council was adversarial to him, he came down and said, this is what I'm interested in doing.
Yeah.
And then everybody went out, the administration and the elected officials, the council, and, this gentleman, you're going to tell me your opinion. Then we come back in the room after everybody's done all their homework, and we all say, well, here's what we've heard.
Yeah.
Okay? It doesn't hurt to have a little lead time.
well, I think he should, do you guys have a liaison with the?
We do, but he very rarely uses them.
Oh, okay.
And this is the problem. I mean, when you're talking about major issues, like your insurance, when they came down to us,
Yeah,
they came down to us a few years back and they said, here's what our plans are. Not specifically, but in general.
Right.
So at least we know now going forward, nothing's a surprise.
right. I could see, I know,
We got to get this gentleman on as well.
yeah, get DJ back on.
You still on, DJ?
Yeah, stop calling me a gentleman. You worked with me. I'm not a gentleman.
And when you coming back to town? Anytime soon?
I'm actually coming back for a visit next week.
Oh,
Ooh.
Wanted to give you guys a heads up.
nice.
How's things in the
For how
summer?
long? For how long?
Anywhere from 2 weeks to possibly a month. You guys might actually be stuck with me.
Good, because Kaz is going to need your help, because I got to go out of town.
How's the silver mine looking?
I've been mining. I've actually been spending a lot of time up on Pikes Peak, with that, whatever that metal dish is. You put the rocks in and you swish them around with the water. I've been panning.
Yeah, you guys ain't wearing those funny hats because of the aliens either, are you?
No tinfoil for me, man.
The devil's lettuce is legal out there, Kaz, so you never know what's going on out there.
Devil's lettuce.
When I get back, it's definitely rampant out here.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna let you guys go though.
Okay.
Say hey, check in.
No, serious. I'm going to be out of town doing some work, so I need you to stop by.
I will be in the neighborhood, so we'll see how that works
Well,
out.
we got to get together. We'll go have some coffee or
Yeah.
something to eat sometime.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Very
Okay.
good. I gotta let you go. Take care.
Later on, DJ.
Bye.
Good to hear old DJ.
DJ, yeah. Good. I'm glad, because I can't be here for a couple of weeks. I got to go out of town.
You won't be here next week, right?
I will be here next week, but not the 2 weeks after that.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, caller.
Hey, John, you were talking about the triangle in Mississippi.
Yeah.
What do they do when they get hot down there? They quit working.
I'd imagine. I don't know what they do, but
I know we had an outfit called Griffin Manufacturing. They transferred to Mississippi.
Ooh, Griffin.
Yes.
You mean the pots and pan?
The ones that made hinges?
yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the one that made those Griswold pans, not them, right?
No, that was,
Griswold?
I can't think of who it was.
Oh, there was Griffin. Maybe that's it, right?
Yeah, this was Griffin Manufacturing.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Griswold. Griffin was... Griffin, I remember, I lived next door to him.
Did you follow the story? Did you see the story on him on 60 Minutes, John? That Joe Max Griffin. What was his name? Joe Max. What the heck? I just Googled him. What was his name?
Yeah.
I didn't.
Higgins.
Higgins,
That's it.
right.
Yeah.
But I know that my wife used to work there, and they offered her a job down there, and they offered me a job down there. And some real friend of my wife, some big black girl, she said, you guys don't want to go down there because when it gets hot, they don't work, and they don't show up for work. So Griffins went down there anyways, and they folded up.
I can tell you this, they don't play much baseball in the afternoon.
They don't work in the afternoons either.
Because it does get, I tell you, I went outside one time and I go, oh my God, this is brutal, So they do like, you see a few guys golfing, but they do a lot of late afternoon stuff.
Well, they probably if you have to.
Oh, it gets brutal down there.
Hey, on this EMTA,
Yeah.
now, what if I was appointed and I didn't want to sign or give my resignation?
That's a good question. We don't know the answer. It never happened before.
I think that I know a couple who don't want to resign,
Yeah.
and I think if they take it to court, doesn't EMTA have to represent?
Here's the problem. Here's the problem, John. If they have board meetings and people don't show up, and them being a nonprofit, the state could take them over. So, and that could get very dicey at that point. And there's a lot of, see, Kaz can't really, there's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes. Kaz can't really talk about it, but everybody's saying, everybody's fighting and da. Well, there's reasons why things are going on behind the scenes. But if those guys, I don't know the details of why, can they resign? What is officially resigning?
Well, just because you leave a meeting doesn't mean you're resigning.
But
No, there's the question, John. I mean, we don't know, first they said it was verbal.
Yeah.
And, well, watch the meeting. I'm going to have some comments that,
I just don't, personally, John, I don't know about what you think, but I think they may have jumped the gun in appointing new board members until that situation played out.
Because if you're on a board and you send in a letter of resignation, then it goes to the various councils and they vote to accept or reject the resignation.
yeah, see, we've never had a case where, to my knowledge, and I go back, John, you go back as far as I do. Do you ever remember, not even in the days of Lou Tullio, if he didn't like a guy, he asked him to resign, or they kind of forced him out by, mere pressure of the new guys coming in. But usually people were allowed to finish their terms.
Well, I was on a board for the city.
I remember that. I think I appointed you, didn't I?
No, this was before you.
Oh, before? Okay.
I still am on that one. But I was on a board, and I told the city clerk that I didn't want to be available anymore, and he told me to write a letter of resignation.
Right, that's what you do. But I've never heard that you can fire anybody
That's
just
what I
because
thought. I mean,
you don't agree with them, though. That's a dangerous precedent.
That's right, and I think city council and county council, for that matter, I don't know if she has any representatives from county on the board down there. But,
John, I know a lot of people don't like authorities. We've talked about it, okay?
well, true.
But when the reason why you formed them was to be independent.
Right, you want to take politics out of it.
And now this looks like politics. It's
right.
like,
And I don't think it's right, and I think city council should not accept any of the new board without reservation.
yeah, it's a dangerous precedent that just because you don't like what a board did, that, you're gonna disband them.
What
Look at the water authority, nobody liked what they did. Fluoride in the water.
Yeah. The one thing about what makes the EMTA an attractive situation is that they have no debt. And any government body that can say that they are in control of that asset, they have no debt. So
But they have no service either.
Yeah, but if you wanted to, there's financial advantages of having that type of
But a lot of their debt is taken care of by government, okay?
Right.
They get reimbursed for runs, okay?
Right.
If they ran as a private, I'll give you proof. John, you remember when it was a private company, right?
Erie Coach,
What happened to it?
they give up.
Yeah, they got to a point where, without government subsidy, they couldn't make it.
But look at the area they covered. They covered 2nd Street all the way up to 4th Street, from French all the way to Sassafras.
Mm-hmm.
And they had their own washing, they had their own mechanics, they had everything. And they plowed the streets, and they had good service.
We had a similar situation this week at the airport. The board members none of them were made aware of the plans. And, you know, you have boards for a specific reason, and that is for oversight.
You know, when it regards to EMTA, the city itself has to be very careful on what you guys decide to do. Because it's a very touchy situation. There's a lot of things that are going on that I've heard about behind the scenes. Just be very careful on decisions that you make, because that is an asset of the city.
Yeah, there's a guy right down the road that wants to put a business in, is going to have a problem. Right next to the area down there. I won't say his name or whatever, but it's unbelievable. As for Smoke the Dog, how does it cost $10,000 a year? Did you see any receipts?
No, in fact, council, there's an open request by the media and by some of the board members asked for documentation, and as of that meeting, they hadn't had it. So I mean, there was a lot of.
There's a lot of.
Yeah, and you know what? What's bad is the board was not aware of it, or were they made aware that the various issues that came out? You know, it was a giant mess that should have never happened.
Well, you know, the smaller cities get the bombs to the bigger cities. Did you know that?
They what?
They get the bombs through the baggage.
Yeah.
Bigger flights to the bigger cities.
Well, yeah. I mean, you know what I always said.
Area.
You know, you try to go where you got the least amount of problems. You know.
That's why they come to little cities and get it into the baggage. That's why smoke would be an asset and is an asset.
And who's the biggest part of the problem is not the people coming on the airplane, but the workers.
True.
They don't get scanned as much. People get comfortable.
And as far as certification, whose fault is that?
Yeah, well, that's a $1 million question that for years we all thought when we come off that airplane that, you know, the dog was certified. I mean, what would you think? Okay? After 911 and you're thinking, wow, you know, they're really serious. In fact, I can remember, I don't know who the dog was. I can remember going to the airport for a meeting when I was a controller. It was right after 911 was fresh. And you had to stop at the ticket. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember this. You know where you come in and you get your ticket?
Yes.
Well, you had to stop there. They had a little booth.
There's a holding pen there.
Well, they had a booth there at that time, and they came out and they put the mirror under your car, and the dog walked around your car, and I'm going, that wasn't smoke then, and I'm going, well, geez, you know, so now, you know, you flash forward a number of years and you go, you assumed, and that's bad to do, but you assumed with everybody that was working at the airport, TSA, the police, the dog, you thought they were all on the, you know, well-trained and everything. Now, like some of the board members said, what else is wrong?
Well, you know,
is there something else wrong that we don't know about?
well, there was one good thing about the EMTA board that I just heard over the weekend. The school busing situation, it's been taken care of. So, you know, all that last year when they said, oh, we're not busing school students.
Yeah.
It's August, and guess what? We're not going to
right.
bus school students. Well, that's been taken care of, I heard, and it's been solved.
They all have to be certified drivers. They all have to go through the test for the being bad boys and
I guess they can.
CDLs and mechanics, and no way in hell would that come into fruition.
You'll probably hear about it in the news in about 2 weeks, but I think that's.
Well, the buses are rough. There's some, they do need some supervision on some of them.
They have to. Kids are out of control. Kids are out of control on them buses.
They are.
A bus to Corey with only 2 people.
Yeah, right.
Well, you know, there again, John, there's the
federal money.
yeah, here's a good one. You remember those little trolleys?
Yes.
Well, the one director, Mike Tan, he wanted to take some of the trolleys that weren't being used and rent them out. And it was a good idea, right?
Yeah.
You can do it.
But the federal government says, no, as long as we're subsidizing them,
Right.
you have to run them empty up and down the street. And
Yeah,
he's going,
that's true. That is true, yeah.
and he could have taken like 2 or 3 of them and rented them out to weddings or, because people wanted to rent them, you know.
Because I'd see them up, and I'd be like, there's nobody on those things, ever.
Yeah, but they had to run them.
And they said, well, we have to, it's a grant money, and the driver has a job, so at least it creates one job that nobody drives around
Well,
on.
it's like the fire trucks at the airport.
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
When they had that great debate about Powell Avenue,
Yeah.
you know, when they were building a runway around it,
Plane's coming down too long.
well, what they tried to say was they would lend the one fire truck to Mill Creek until the road project was done, because they were like,
Do that.
you know, they were closing down Powell Avenue. And so they had, but the federal government had to waive it because those trucks aren't allowed to leave property.
Well, I'll get off, so I got enough stirred up.
Yeah, that's okay, stir up more dirt.
All right.
He's the dirt stir.
We gotta call him the,
He's not the horse, he's the dirt stir.
if he was in Peanuts, he'd be Pigpen, right?
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, he's very knowledgeable about things.
Yes, see, I've been trying to get him on the show, and
He likes, if he's on the show, who's gonna call in?
we'll give him a mask, though.
You'll have him on, and I'll go call in, and me and him, yeah. Well, DJ will be here. He'll take some calls with you next week, or actually, or maybe next or 2
Well, years
weeks.
ago, like, you know, Mario had Randy Brewer on the show.
Yes, yes, he did. This show, I remember when Mario was on here, and
Jimmy
then
Thompson.
and Jimmy Thompson and Ian Murray were on here, and when Randy was on here,
And
all
each
the
one of them
time.
had somebody that had alternate viewpoints, you know.
Yeah.
Which is good, because
I mean,
it stirs debate.
You do. I mean, a lot of things, like we know it's a talk show, so he'll take one, or I'll take a point, and we'll go the opposite directions. Because if he says something and I go, I agree. There's it's not a talk show. It's just more of an agree show, I guess.
We used to take a lot of complaints, we still do, but I like it when people ask questions about things they don't understand that
Yeah.
we don't have enough time to elaborate on.
No.
Things like LERTA, things like, you know, even the panhandling law we were
A
talking
lot
about
of
the
people
other day.
don't even understand what's really, they have an overview. People that, if you're actually sitting there watching this show, you have, I'd say, probably 90% more knowledge of actually what's going on than the average citizen. Most people just flip right by they're like the government channel, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. But then when you go on social media, they're the first one to complain about everything.
Social media, sometimes they get it wrong. I stayed off it because, you know, you listen to some of the stuff and, you know,
You stop tweeting.
I never tweeted. You know,
I do that very little bit. I like Facebook.
I had people that wrote me on Facebook, but then when you wrote them back, it was like, you had the unknown guys that were saying, you know, you're full of crap.
I
And
like Facebook because you see your old friends that you don't see. They live out of town. You get pictures, and you post dumb
I still
stuff.
like talking to people directly.
Yeah, well, I do too. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'd
I
much
mean,
rather do
there's
that.
a lot of blog sites on there that are,
I don't read that crap.
I mean, you look at them and go, really? You know,
John's on Facebook. He's a Facebook guy. He doesn't do very much, but he's on there.
he sent me a few things.
His sister's on there. She's very nice.
He gets some nice pictures.
Yeah,
Old Erie.
yeah. And what I like about you find out about different social events and different birthday parties or fundraising benefits and.
It just, I don't have time to sit there on the computer all day.
You don't have to sit there all day and do it. You just take a look at it. But
And every time I look at it, it's like, it's advanced so quick, I miss the old stuff.
yeah, there's rarely.
Nobody ever taught me how to use it, so what happens is,
Exactly.
you get on there and then it's like,
It's like yes, you're right.
the stuff that happened 3 hours ago is gone and
Yeah.
in deep space somewhere.
Well, no, I mean you just got to scroll through. If you're not comfortable and not familiar with how to use it, then see it's for my generation. I'm 50 years old now. Anybody that was older than me, computers, technology, social media.
Oh, no, we like it, but we don't like it for contact.
Right. You need it for other things. Whereas my age and younger, it's part of everyday life.
It's a danger, though.
It is. So when your generation's all gone and my generation, everybody is going to be. This is one of the most, in my opinion, in history. Mm-hmm. The technology at my and yours age difference is enormous.
Yeah, but John,
The gap will never be. All we can do now is just improve. And I know I can say that in 100 years.
You know what? That youth, when youth talks, it's full of crap. Okay, I can remember when I was a kid. Okay,
Yeah.
You walked around. Nobody had a tape player, not even in their house.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and you didn't walk around with a radio,
Yeah.
strung to your ear because you didn't have any way of playing it.
Yeah. Well, then
And then some guy magically invented, what was it?
the Walkman.
The transistor?
Oh yeah. Oh, the transistor. Yeah. Then yeah.
That marvelous tool that was this big,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah.
Changed the world, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now everybody walked around with little 9-volt batteries, radios.
Right,
You could listen to 8, 9 stations.
yeah,
You thought you were king,
right,
okay?
yeah,
Then they came out with Walkmans and stuff where you could tape things, okay?
right,
Now you had the ability, you didn't need a reel-to-reel tape player.
right.
Then you figure out a way how to get TVs in every room. Things change, John.
Yeah, but I don't see how,
You don't know what the future's gonna
it's
bring.
such, the jump in technology is so big. I mean, I don't know how we could ever do.
Go ahead, caller.
Hi, guys. I wondered, did either one of you get to read 1984?
I'm still working on it. You gave me that, didn't you?
Yes, I was looking at it, yeah, I did have it in my hand the other day. I want to thank you for that.
Well, I think that it's going to be a real eye-opener. The technology that's happening. Do you know that there are, I think it's 300 mayors across the country that are protesting and going to sue the FCC about the 5G?
About what?
5G that's coming in.
What's 5G?
Yeah, the 5G technology that they're implementing.
Ooh, that must be a real step.
I know you're not big into your email, Kaz, and neither am I, to be honest with you. We're in the same boat age-wise.
Mm-hmm.
But I sent you an email about the 5G and how mayors across the country are really protesting because the FCC is literally forcing cities across the country to implement 5G, and there are a lot of health concerns related to the 5G.
All right, I'm gonna be ignorant. I have no idea what 5G is. What is 5G?
Well, when you go on your phone there and it says 4 gigabytes,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, yeah.
now they're ramping it up to 5G, which is going to be even more intense. The technology and the radiation and radio waves that are going to be going through the air.
As they change it, right now, like you got, think about it, John, you got door openers,
Yeah,
car openers.
right. All the radio transmissions.
That's all going through your body, you know.
That's going to, you're right. Oh, okay, I see what she means.
All the wireless things that we have today, you know.
Because when she said 5G, I'm thinking, I got 4G on my phone, so
Yeah,
that's,
because 4G is supposed to be right now the top of the line with clarity and.
yeah.
But they're putting these towers literally everywhere. They're on top of schools. Everywhere you look, there's a tower.
Well, there's a theory about, isn't it about even power lines are not good near a house?
Absolutely. The risk of cancer is
Absolutely.
really a lot greater when you are continually assaulted. Plus, the other thing is when, I don't know about you guys, but the electric company and our dear water company came through and they installed smart meters
Yeah.
in my house, whether I wanted it or not. And if you look into smart meters, there is a huge risk of cancer and a myriad of other health issues that go along with that. And, you don't have a choice. You do have a choice. You can say no, but then they threaten you and all this other stuff. And so it's a big issue. And I know, John, you love technology because of your age, and that's understandable. But me, I'd go back to pen and paper any day.
What we don't know, and it comes out every once in a while that people are having ear problems, problems on their side where they keep their phone from radiation,
Well, who was our one government official he would drive back and forth to Harrisburg, and he died of brain tumor? Who was it recently in the last 5 years or so? Oh, gosh, his name is escaping me. Darn that fluoride. It's working,
It wasn't, yeah, I'm trying to think, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
And
did.
he died of a brain tumor, and they said it was. And even if you look at your phone and look at the package inserts on your phone.
It wasn't Italo, was it?
Italo was a long time ago. He died.
Yeah, I think it was him.
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
Package insert on your phone. It says, there is some data that says it could cause brain cancer.
Well, yeah, because you have it up to your ear all the time, and
always put my phone on speaker. I don't care who hears the conversation. Nothing I say is that important. You know?
You know what used to be funny? When we were kids, you remember going to, I remember Sears had one. They had this new tool to see if you needed shoes, so they stuck your feet in a machine, and you saw the outline of your feet. It was unshielded radiation.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I mean, we don't learn about things until, after the fact.
Yep, it's like with smoking, everybody thought smoking was cool, and then now we know it's not.
Yep.
Right, everybody thinks fluoride is great, but now the research shows it's not.
Hey, did you see the ad? I think it's mandated that we have to add more chlorine to the water.
Really? By the feds?
Yeah.
Yeah, but John, do you know that adding more chlorine to the water, combination of chlorine and hydrofluorosilicic acid creates a chemical reaction that leaches lead from the pipes, and research shows it, and they're still doing it. So our lead levels are going to go up.
Did you watch the last meeting on council?
I was there.
I mean, you didn't stay around to the end, right?
No, but you know what? You and I both know what happened at the end, and I am coming back.
I was disappointed that, when I went to your defense, and I clearly, pointed out that she had been on the show.
Yeah.
So there was a disclaimer, but I was really disappointed in the attitude of some of my colleagues that,
What?
yeah, I really was. And you'd have to watch. You were too, weren't you, a little bit?
I was extremely disappointed, and I'm going to tell you something. You're a real gentleman. You know how I've told you that your wife is a lucky lady?
Yeah.
You're a lucky guy to have your wife.
Well, you know what? It's okay to disagree with your position, but, treat you with a little bit of respect that,
What?
I came out and I said, this woman's not a quack. She's a medical professional. And I said, she's entitled to her opinion. And it was just like,
This went on during the meeting?
well, at the end, it was,
During committee
I had
reports?
walked out and had left because it was getting late and I had to get back to family. But best be assured, I'm coming back this next meeting. I will be there, and I'm going to address all her concerns. And I will do it politely and respectfully, because that's the way I roll. I'm going to be honest, and my honesty may be painful, but I'm going to address all her concerns. But I have to say, you do a wonderful job here on the Taxpayer Hotline. I know that there are people that call in, and that might even be myself, that call in, and you might not totally agree with my viewpoint, but I have never hung up feeling insulted.
well, this is the people's show, really. It's not mine. I use that term by accident, but, it's not my show. It belongs to the people.
No.
They determine
Kaz,
over the years what they wanted out of it.
you've taken time out of your life for years and years and years when, this show might have went by the wayside a long time ago.
Well, I get tired when I go out and people are frustrated and they got,
Sure.
so, they can call me. I don't care.
You know how people, do you think anybody can sit up here and do a live talk show? Being on city council, an elected official, people could call here and take shots and ask, we've tried to get a lot of elected officials to come on. A lot of them won't do it.
I'm not worried about my career. You know
No,
what?
I mean, Kaz is he's unique. He does what best for everybody that
I want Mary back.
lives
Mary,
in the city. I mean, he's
you're
a
welcome to
unique
come
person.
back on again too, okay?
Well,
We have some
I'm more than
unfinished-
happy to come on, and we don't have to just talk about fluoride. Hey, the last time I was on, remember I told you how they did the street between 38th and 32nd in Elmwood in
Yeah.
light speed?
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Well, guess what street they're digging up today? The water department.
Oh, no.
They have just below 38th and Elmwood. They have water trucks all over and this big digger thing.
I never, I remember when I was a young man, they dug up Peach Street. I remember they dug it up all the way to the dirt. Peach Street, right in front of the Boston store, right outside here, outside the parking ramp.
Yeah.
I marveled. I said, wow, they're really going to get this done right. They paved it, nice, and guess what they did? A week and a half later,
Yeah.
There they are with the jackhammers. And I'm going, how? How did,
I don't understand. Is there no communication between departments now? It's an issue.
I mean, you can see if it's something happened that they couldn't foresee, but you would think they would go through everything and say, okay, now that we're here and these pipes look weak, let's replace them now,
I don't know what the heck is going on State Street, but my God, every time I ride by there, they got that thing dug up by the stadium all the time up there between.
Well, I had an opportunity to drive down Peach Street today from Liberty to Peach and 26th Street. Mm-hmm. Have you been on that street? It's like a war zone.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Right.
I hope they get it right, but.
Yeah.
I hope they do too. But anyways, I want to say thank you, Kaz, for what you do, because I'm going to tell you, if I had to walk out of my house every week without, number one, you don't get paid extra for doing this. I know you don't.
No, I do it because I really enjoy it, and I've made Jim Thompson a promise years ago. When, when he was getting ready to get out, I said, I'll take it over. And I really didn't mind it,
And that's Jim. Jim was the one that invited me to come on this show to talk about some projects that I was working on in the city, a free shoveling program with senior citizens, and he wanted me to come on to the show and talk about how I created and established it, and then he asked me to be on the city curfew committee when that started. So that's kind of how I got involved with the show and involved in city, different things like that. So Kaz took over for Jimmy when no one else, it might have went by the wayside at that point.
Well, no, we did want it, Dave.
No. He's Kaz, you're the last resort, right? But hey,
A lot of people don't want to come up here and face the truth. I mean,
no, a lot of people, they don't want to, they'd actually have to answer for some of their decisions.
I can tell you there were members of the administration who were told not to come on here.
Are you kidding me? None of them were allowed to come on. They're upstairs going, we ain't going on there. You can't even call up there anymore. But they got work to do.
Well, they got Moss now. He does a good job.
Yeah, they do. But they don't even want you calling up there anymore. But
I'm wondering if Moss has me on call block, though.
No, Moss is a good guy.
But anyways, one last thing. John, a big thank you to you, too, because you are not a paid city employee. And look at you. You go and you step out and you care. Yeah. And I appreciate that. Well,
I enjoy coming on the show. Kaz is a good guy, and I've known Kaz for a long. He was friends with my father-in-law for a long time, and so.
Yeah, we actually were in the Army together.
Yeah, so and I enjoy talking about politics, and I do a lot around the city, and I do stay involved in a lot of different programs and activities and volunteer, and I don't volunteer as much as I used to, but I used to be in a position to provide a lot of city organizations and groups with volunteers. I used to work at Perseus House. A lot of kids there needed volunteer hours, and so I would, get them involved back in the community to try to teach them territoriality and what it's like to be productive in the city instead of anti-productive. But I've stayed involved, been involved with a lot of things for a long time, and I enjoy coming and talking, and it's fun.
Well, thank you.
No problem.
Thank you to both of you. And read up on 5G.
Yeah, I got to read George Orwell too. I started on that, so.
Yeah.
That is everything that's happening today is in that book.
I know John doesn't believe it, but I said you'll be surprised the technological advances that'll make today look like we're back in the kerosene lamp day.
Did they ever make a movie out of that book?
George Orwell, yeah, but it's out of print. 1984. You can't find it. You can't buy it. It is like gold.
You mean the movie or the book?
The movie.
Oh, the movie.
I've tried to buy it, and it's very expensive.
You must be able to get it maybe Amazon or something.
Is it on Netflix? Yeah, I got Netflix. I hope it's on Netflix.
You might be able to get it like on, what do you call it, eBay or something?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well,
if I find one, I'll get it for you.
You know what, though, you can do? You can download it. It's on LibriVox. And it's an audio book, and you can listen to it in your car or listen to it on your phone.
Yeah, it's scary what could happen, but.
Yeah.
technology is one of those things that, I joke with John. I said when they invented the transistor, they thought that was great. Then they invented the chip. So who knows what's in the future?
When I started the Joy Center, Senior Center, one of the first things that senior citizens came up to me and said, John, we want to learn how to run a computer, how to operate a computer. And I said, well, what do you know? Where do we start? And they said, from the start button. We don't even know how to turn them on.
That's true.
So what happened was I called some guy, Kevin Arrington was his name, and we started a class, a basic computer training class. We started one. And once the other seniors saw that we started that, it went up to 2, went up to 3 classes. We had 3 classes going on that started from basic computer all the way up to like they wanted to learn Word and this and that, and it was like
I will tell you
it went from 1 to 3 classes.
You're still there, right, Mary?
Yeah, I'm listening.
One problem with your generation, John, and I noticed it with my kids. They're good at what they do, but they're bad teachers. And you'll sit there and you'll say,
no patience.
well, you'll say, show me how to do this, and they go, give me it.
You know what the problem?
And I go, no, I don't want you to do it for me.
Yeah.
I want you to show me.
I'm going to tell you, here's what I'm going to tell you too, caller. If the thing is that, and Kaz, tell me if I'm right, seniors that are old, they want to learn technology, but what happens is, and I was the same way, if I do something on my phone that's wrong, and I can't, or on a computer, and I don't know how to go back and erase what I did, so I can learn learn how to do it right, but if I screw up, go back and try it again, and go, because I was the same way. I'd be like, oh my God, I'd be like, okay, well, if that's wrong, so I got to go back, and I couldn't teach myself, so what happens is, I got frustrated, I was like, get this thing out of here.
But that's why the kids got to learn how to teach you, from the start. They're not very, you need somebody with a little
Not
patience.
only do you know how to, when it comes to computers, how to teach, the way to teach them is, if you screw up, how do you get back
to where you were.
So you can try the learning process again. And once we taught the seniors how to do that, they were like, let's do that. Teach us Photoshop. Teach us this. Teach us that. We want to send pictures. We want email. Everything. But the big one was emails. They wanted to learn how to email, social media, so they can, Skype, because they wanted their family. Everybody's families are out of town, and you get lonely. So you want to be in contact, communicate, cell phones. We brought a guy in. Are you still there, caller?
Yeah, I'm listening. Very interesting.
They brought, we called somebody from Verizon.
Yeah.
They're like, John, teach us how to use cell phones. Teach us how. Smartphones, teach us how. They didn't know how to text.
Well, my mother's an example.
Perfect example.
She has learned a little bit more each time.
Yeah.
But for her generation, this is a big jump.
Yes. Computers to seniors.
It's a big jump, John.
Like I said, Kaz, I'm 50, and I'm barely knowledgeable about
John, they had 5-digit telephones when I was a kid.
Kaz, they had the stuff where you're like,
You know what 5-digit
Hello?
telephones are? John, 5 digits.
yeah.
A variety of other letters.
But they'd say, that's why I keep saying the technology gap between your generation and my generation, there'll never be.
Wait till you see the next one.
Don't
ever say never be, because that is,
I don't know how it could be, because every single person from my age down knows how to operate this thing.
John, newspapers are dead, printing presses
Because
are
of
dead.
this.
Yeah, but
Everything you need.
we don't know what's out there. We didn't know.
Maybe I should not say never.
We did not know what is out there when we were young. We used to watch Dick Tracy, and Dick Tracy had a thing on his wrist, the two-way wrist radio and TV.
Yeah.
We laughed at that. That was like science. What do we got now?
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, but how do we better, how do we
don't
get
know,
everything?
John. We didn't know that. Hey, John,
I get what you're saying.
we didn't know that when I was a kid.
I shouldn't say never, but it's going to be a long time.
If you would have told me we were doing that
Yeah.
when I was in 10th grade,
I
would have laughed at you.
I know. That's why I'm saying, think about it. The gap of where we have come in our lifetime.
Think
How
of
do
the
we
future,
top
but
that?
the gap will be better.
And this is just the beginning steps of it. It's going to get better and better and better.
The gap will widen, John.
I don't know how. Because you're right. I shouldn't say never, but it's going to take a long time.
Well, I just hope that you both take just 3 or 4 hours in an afternoon, especially weather's getting cold. old and
Yeah.
sit down and read George Orwell's 1984.
I will promise you I'll have it done in winter because that's when I do my reading.
Well, that'll be great. Hey, the two of you, be well.
Will do.
You too.
And Chad, I'll be seeing you soon. I think it's October 17th at 7:30.
Yep, there's a morning one coming up this week, I think, Wednesday.
I want the evening one.
Oh, that's
I think
okay. That'll be another 2 weeks then.
I think I might come to the Wednesday's meeting just to see what's going on.
Oh,
Thank you.
the one I'm going to be at in the evening?
What's that?
She'll be at the one in the evening. That's the one you're going to, or you're
No,
going
I
to?
might
the-
come Wednesday.
He might go to this one.
But maybe it all depends on what kind of drama they got going on at that meeting.
Well, listen, you guys take care, and thanks for giving me so much time.
You
No
too,
problem.
Mary.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
We didn't even get into the panhandling ordinance yet.
Holy cow.
We gotta do that next week.
Go ahead, caller. Last call.
Hey, that Peach Street cut, was Wasmoka ahead of the working for the city then?
When?
That Peach Street cut when they paved the road, was Wasmoka working for the city then?
He might have been.
Because I'm the guy who cut it.
Oh, yeah, you said.
You're the culprit.
Well, we had a steam leak.
Well, I remember Was had 2 left-hand turn lanes on Peach Street.
Yeah, that's
that-
where...
That
yeah,
went in
right
front of the courthouse.
Mooney Hall there.
Oh, no, I was wrong. He had 2 on Sassafras.
Yeah,
That went in front of the courthouse,
yeah,
at the park.
yeah.
So I asked him one time, I said, if I stay in the right lane and make the turn, what do I do? And he goes, what do you mean? So I walked him over there and I said, I run into where the cars are parked in front of the courthouse. So he took the arrow out.
Yeah, he was a character. I know he told me he was going to have me arrested. I said, well, you call my boss. He said, cut here, and I'm cutting here. But, I listened to the little lady about fluoride again and
Yeah.
all that, and I listened to the A and B team on the report of council. There's a pair that'll be full house.
I just don't know why they want to insult this lady, without giving her a chance.
It was unbelievable. I cannot believe it. And, they're like 2 peas in a pod. I won't say the names or whatever, but just like Tulio said, give me 4 votes and I'll run the whole city.
There you go.
Have a good one, guys.
See you, John. Maybe next week we'll get into the panhandling ordinance.
With the panhandling, isn't there the no more public drinking? I already thought that was an ordinance.
Where is that coming
Yes,
from?
we can't get off the air. You're popular today.
Okay.
Last caller promise. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been trying to get on for the last 25 minutes.
Yeah, it's been busy. Go ahead.
Last week and this week, I couldn't get in. On the computer system there, John, one drawback for all this computer technology,
Yeah.
50 to 75 years, it won't be accessible because what's stored on magnetic is lost because even if you store a CD or DVD improperly, the magnetic structure of it is distorted. Just like the videotapes of the past and cassette tapes, you can't access them. So the old papers trail is about the best trail for storing information for years to come.
Oh, for sure.
And the other thing too, I discovered I use the digital recorders to record information on.
Right.
If you drop that cracks, you can't recover it.
Right.
You cannot recover a broken recorder.
Technology has its
There's a
pros and
major
cons.
drawback to the modern technology, and as that 5G, become aware that it also affects people who have pacemakers and
Oh, really?
oh yeah. So those are always waves coming out.
I don't think we've been approached here at the city yet about that, but,
Well, I wanted to talk some more, but I know you're down on time here.
well, call early next week, Doc. We'll get you on.
Well, I just came back from the doctor myself. We're our
Yeah.
age, we got to see the doctor more often.
Yep, that's how it goes when we get our age.
Yeah, well, give me a call off the line sometime. You never seem to do it, but
I've had some, we'll talk.
All right. Hey, John, take care of yourself.
You
and,
too.
Hopefully you accomplish what you're trying to do.
Hey, did you hear DJ's going to come back in and do a couple shows?
I heard DJ call in. That was
Yeah.
good to hear his voice and
Yeah.
see him again. And maybe if Chad goes out with him a cup of coffee and donuts, stop by, pick me up. I can't drive, so.
Right.
All right, take care.
Okay, Doc.
Well, Mike, you better take us off.
Mike gave us the signal. So, Kaz, thanks for having me, and we'll see you next week.
You'll be here,
I'll
right?
be here next week, but
We'll have a whole bunch of new stuff to talk
hey,
about.
I'm going to the Bills-Titans game next Sunday, sitting in the box, the luxury box. We'll talk off the air.
So where does,
You have been watching Taxpayers Hotline, recorded live from the fabulous city of Erie, Pennsylvania.